All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium on the From the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we go through everything that happened down here on a Wednesday in Santa Clara. Well, Kyle Shanahan spoke to us first, and he told us about the injuries. Christian McCaffrey's got an Achilles and a calf injury. He's limited today at practice. Juwan Jennings with an ankle injury that he suffered in the game. He's limited at practice. Aaron Banks has got a calf. He's limited. Talanoa Hufanga with the knee is limited as well. Yatir Gross-Matos and D. Winters, Gross-Matos with the knee, Winters with the ankle, they remain out. So those two guys remain out. Shanahan also said that J.P. Mason came out of the Jets game really good, and he's a full go for the Vikings in week 2. As far as Christian McCaffrey, he basically, Christian McCaffrey, they've never considered putting Christian McCaffrey on the IR. And his status is, they'll see how he feels. We had a chance to talk to Christian later, but that was what Shanahan said. He also said that he really liked having Sam Darnold here. He was asked about Sam Darnold, and he said he can make all the throws. And also, he was asked more follow-up on the Aiyuk timeline of how Kyle ran upstairs to tell John, hey, I think we ought to talk more to Aiyuk. And then I think the question was asked, hey, so basically, were you guys on the verge of trading Aiyuk to the Steelers? And Shanahan kind of pushed back and said, hey, there was never a real deal in place, but he ran upstairs at the time because he wasn't sure if John was on the phone putting a deal in place. But he kind of paints the picture of how tenuous that the whole thing was in the 11th hour. As far as Leonard Floyd, I asked him about Leonard Floyd, and the one thing that stood out to me was just the motor and the football IQ of Leonard Floyd. And he said, Kyle says he's just amazed at the motor that he demonstrates every day at practice. He says he loves playing football, and he's just a guy. He basically said he was an impressive guy to watch. And the motor that Floyd played with Monday night, I should say, was amazing. And if you watch Floyd play that way all year, I think Floyd and Bosa are both going to have huge years. Kyle was asked about the Vikings and, the Vikings offense, and he talked about how it's a balanced offense, that they use a bunch of different things. They'll go hurry up. They'll go tempo. It's a physical offense. It's a player-friendly offense. They'll go play action. They'll do the bootleg game. Obviously, they've got Justin Jefferson. Kyle was asked about Justin Jefferson, and he said, he was asked what makes Justin Jefferson so special. And he said just, the way he cuts at full speed, how smart he is, how fearless he is, and just the fact that he's, this incredible receiver, has all these different traits. He said basically Jefferson's the total package when it comes to receiving. The 49ers today at practice went half speed today because they did play on Monday, and Kyle's trying to rest them up for the game on Sunday. So they went half speed today at practice. Kyle thought the O-line did a really good job on Monday Night Football against the Jets, and if you look at the numbers, there was the yards that J.P. Mason had before contact was really impressive, and it kind of showed that the Niners offensive line kind of owned the day. Jake Moody wins your NFC Special Team Player of the Week for going 6 for 6 on field goals, including a couple of 50-yarders. Moody had a tremendous first game. George Kittle, by the way, did his video interview today with the media wearing Brock Purdy's Iowa State helmet because Iowa State beat Iowa. And George, wind knocking the door. But George and Brock had a bet, and of course, Iowa State beat Iowa, so George did his media with Brock's helmet on, and I think that's probably what the bet would have been going the other way as well. We talked to Christian McCaffrey. He says that his mentality is that he's going to gear up to play every single week, and then if he can't go, he can't go. So he says he doesn't like that mentality of, I'm a half speed guy or I'm half go and I'm not really sure. He likes to go pretend like I'm full go until I'm not going to go. So he only really knows one mentality, and he said that's the way he's looking at it this week. He's feeling better, but they won't know if he'll go until later on this week. He's not trying to be evasive or play games. It's just a kind of a touch and go thing with the nature of the Achilles and calf area. CMC said he was so proud of J.P. Mason for the way he played on Monday night. He was asked about Dominic Pooney. He said, man, he looks like a vet. Pooney, by the way, allowed only one pressure against the Jets on Monday Night Football. CMC was asked about Sam Darnold. He said, he's happy to see him get an opportunity. He said he's smart, he's tough. He says he has the utmost respect for Sam. Then we had a chance to talk to Nick Bosa, and he said, hey, Minnesota's got a really good run game. And Nick said that he feels more balanced in the different rushes, the different pass rush moves that he has, that he's using them more of them at an equal rate throughout the game, and he's really pleased with that. I asked him about Leonard Floyd, and he said, man, he was winning a lot on the other side, and it's really cool to have him over there. And then Nick also pointed out that this week that, they're playing a team that's a better team. He's like, basically said the Vikings are better than the Jets. He's like, we're playing a team that's playing better football than the Jets were playing. He said Minnesota runs the ball well. He talked about Sam Darnold. He said he's like, he can run a little bit, and called him a good processor. Nick said he thought the effort that the defense had in the Jets game was really, really good. He says Minnesota is one of the cooler environments. He says he doesn't like the travel, the long plane flight. He doesn't like the turf, but he says that he can't lie, that he thinks their environment with their fans is one of the cooler environments in the league. When people started asking him questions that were kind of like rah-rah questions, he's like, hey, man, we're not patting ourselves on the back. We made a lot of mistakes in week one. We got to improve, and kind of offered kind of a sobering message going into week two. About Leonard Floyd, I mean, watching the film, for me, I kept noticing Leonard Floyd. I mean, he just was so impressive. I also had a chance today to talk to Isaac Yadam. He said that Jefferson's just got great hands and really good technique, both off the line of scrimmage and at the top of the route, and that's what makes him so difficult to defend. Then we had a chance to talk to Fred Warner, and he was talking about how the Niners defense is really tight-knit and that they're really accountable to one another. He was asked about who were the guys who were the big jokesters on the team, and he said on offense, George Kittle, and on defense, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. George said he loved seeing the Niners run the ball at will on Monday night and would love to see more of that. And when he was asked about Floyd, he said, he fits our style. He said, I'm learning so much from him. He said that Leonard Floyd motivates him to be the best football player he can be. So there you go. Now the Niners get ready for Minnesota, a team that they have lost 7 straight games to the Vikings in Minnesota. The last time the Niners went to Minnesota and came away victorious was the 1992 season with Jerry Rice and Steve Young on the team. So it has been a while. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles along the Monterey Peninsula for being the sponsor of this video. Check them out along the Monterey Peninsula. They are at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, right there along the Monterey Peninsula. My good friend Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. So thanks to Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles for being a sponsor of this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show.